You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports.
Oh, welcome in. The Astros have finally given us a win for the Locked On Astros Postcast. Michael Connor here with you guys tonight. Thank you for joining me as you have so far as we've started these Locked On Astros Postcast. Really do appreciate it as the Astros get a very necessary 3-1 victory over the Texas Rangers tonight. We'll break it all down as Ronel Blanco, absolutely filthy, disgusting, dominant again for the Astros. Yordan Alvarez swings the biggest stick of them all. And then the issues that still remain for this club. We'll get through all of it. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. So let's get to Ronel Blanco to start, because that man should stand up and take a bow. He runs another no-hitter into the sixth inning tonight. Absolutely incredible. This is a guy that did not find out he was going to be in the rotation until the end of spring training, the day that he was having a child. And he has gone with the opportunity and taken it. And there is no reason to believe that Ronel Blanco is coming out of that rotation anytime soon. What they're going to do, I don't know. That is going to be a serious decision for Joe Ibotta, for Dana Brown. Whatever they decide to do is going to be difficult. They could go six-man for a period of time. I need to look at the schedule to see how that lines up. But Ronel Blanco again tonight, dominant. He had periods of time where the control was not fantastic. That will happen, of course. You're not going to be perfect every time out. But, I mean, look, he went out there and he got outs. He walked a few guys, which he's always been one to do when he's been in the big leagues so far. And then he follows it up with getting some strikeouts, getting a bunch of easy outs. He has pitched his way into this season so far being a relied upon starter or pitcher, period, for this franchise. Again, when Verlander gets back, I don't know exactly what they're going to do with the rotation. I think that the way he's pitched, he has to keep his spot. JP France probably gets a spot in the bullpen. It is what it is. Opportunities will come for other guys. And for all the bad that this team has had so far this season, and trust me, they've had a lot of bad. Third win of the season tonight. It's incredible to think that we've been sitting here and we've watched them play this many games, and they only have 3 wins on the season. They're now 3-7 through 10 games. Again, we talked about this last night. You're going to have stretches of any regular season where you go out there and you struggle to really do anything and win baseball games. And the Astros have done this before where they have bad periods of time. But when you do it in the beginning of the season, it's all magnified. And it magnifies your weaknesses. And again, we'll talk about some of the weaknesses and some things that I think, you have to look, as we're way far away from this. It's April the 7th when you start thinking about ways you're going to improve this ball club later on. We'll do that towards the end of this show tonight. But they get that win 3-1. It sure would be nice, I will say, if the $95 million closer named Josh Hader would pitch like a $95 million closer and not make things a little interesting there in the ninth inning. Thank goodness for some defense and everything. The Astros getting that thing done. But the star of the night, again, Ronel Blanco doing what he has done consistently out there so far this regular season in his 2 starts. Getting outs, the changeup has become a filthy, just dominant pitch for him as well. And, that's a credit to him for going into spring training, working on it. It's a credit to him for carrying it into the regular season. It's a credit to whoever is calling the game behind the plate when he does throw it, whether that's Yainer Diaz or somebody on the bench that's calling the pitches behind the plate. We know, of course, forever it was Martin Maldonado that did those things for the Astros. But they were able to go out there and utilize what he has always done, using those pitches, and now mixed in that changeup, which has been absolutely dominant for him. The craziest part, and look, Josh Hader spoiled it there in the ninth, was that the Astros were in line to have another win tonight, where their 3 wins would have been a no-hitter, a 1-hitter, and a no-hitter. Way to go, Hader. You just had to go and screw that up. That has been the thing, Blanco included. He's had 2 great starts. if there's one thing that you're happy about to this point of the season, is that the Astros starting pitching has given their team overall a chance to win every single night. Is it perfect? Do they go as deep as you'd like? No, not always. It's early. But they are giving their team and they're setting their bullpen up with situations to hold on to leads. It's on them to do it. They are going to have to get more out of the offense consistently than they're getting right now. They got one swing tonight. That is a problem. I'm going to save that for the last few minutes of the show when we go through some of the issues that they're having. But they are getting everything that they need out of starting pitching at this point. A big concern that we all had. I still contend that it was a mistake to not pay Blake Snell what he wanted and go way over your luxury tax and do whatever it takes to make your team even more dominant. But I get what you're doing when you still do have Luis Garcia. And I'm going to say his name. I'm never going to count on him being out there, but Lance McCullers tells you he's coming back this season. Feels like every time he starts to talk about the injury, though, it's that it was actually a 19-month delay. Well, it was actually a 28-month recovery. Well, it was actually a 49-month recovery. Well, it was actually the rest of my career recovery. I kid, but I don't know when to expect him back and what to even expect out of him. So at some point they will have a big abundance of starting pitch. That's not even including Jose Urquidy as well. Who knows with him? At some point they would like to trade him. I feel like they probably were going to trade him towards the end of the spring. They couldn't do that because, well, he decided to pop up with the forearm issue. So they're going to have an abundance of it. The question will be, will they have the dominant guy? Is Ronel Blanco the staff ace? Is that the question? Is that even or is that a question, or is that a serious statement for this team at this point? The way that he's pitched, he might be the staff ace. That's what he's pitched like. He's been awesome and as reliable as anybody to this point of the season. I am wondering if when you're talking about performances out of other guys, I haven't even mentioned this guy's name yet, but what if Hunter Brown keeps going out there and keeps pitching poorly? Do you look at Hunter Brown and say, well, you're going to have to go to the bullpen because Ronel Blanco is pitching better than you, because J.P. France is pitching better than you, because everybody else on this staff is pitching better than you, Javier and Fromber as well, because those guys have been great so far this season. So these, again, are the questions that the people that make the big bucks, that being Joe Ibotta and Dana Brown, will have to answer at some point. But they have a good problem at the moment, is for as bad as this team has played early in the season, they absolutely have given themselves chances to win baseball games with the outings that they're getting out of their starting pitching. Now, you have to back this win up tomorrow. The other night, when they lost game one of this series, I came onto this show and said they have to win the next three to make a statement against this Rangers team. Tonight was good to have it back. Rangers probably still feeling pretty good because Dane Dunning was able to survive the 3-run home run there from Yordan. But they are also probably having to think, okay, well, maybe the Astros won't roll over and die every time we play them. Tomorrow would be nice, and they'll play one more tomorrow night. Weird series. It'd be nice if they came out and slapped the Rangers around a little bit. It would make things a lot easier for this club. It would make their mindset, I think, a lot better and remind themselves that, hey, we can still go up to this ballpark and crush. Because, newsflash, they're going to follow this series against a Kansas City team right now that's 6-4. Kansas City just played the White Sox and swept them in 4 games because the White Sox have 1 win. And that is the other good news tonight for the Astros, picking up win number 3. Hold on, let me get you your updated standings of the American League West. Oh, dang it. The A's won today, too. I didn't even look at that earlier. Well, the Astros still have the same record as the A's. But good, even better news. They're only 3.5 games out of the division now. That's right. We're doing division standing updates on April the 7th. We're going to get ready, people. We're going to be giving them to you all season long. We only give you the hot and most important information, like what the box score looks like and what the standings look like. That's what we're bringing to you here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Again, appreciate all of you for being here tonight. If you are new to this show, well, thank you for joining us live. You can hit the subscribe button on YouTube. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're looking for this show, if you just like it so much or you missed some of it, you want to go back and listen to it, you can still watch it and listen to it on YouTube, or you can head over to the Locked On Astros podcast page. Great podcast that you hear Monday through Friday with the Locked On Network. This show is available on that page as well. You'll see them up there. The first 2 have already been posted. You can always check them out right there, anywhere that you get your podcast. I was on Spotify earlier. They update immediately. I had a Locked On Rockets postcast earlier today. So that's another good thing. The city of Houston did get one win today against the city of Dallas. It felt like for a second that we weren't going to get both of them. Let's talk about the man that swings the biggest stick of them all, Mr. Yordan Alvarez, after this. I want to go ahead and tell you about the fine folks over at FanDuel. The sports calendar is loaded, and FanDuel's making it even more exciting to get in on the action, because right now new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's right, any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet on, well, the tournament that's going on for one more night, MLB, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bet and win big. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher, and that's business to business, by the way, is tougher than ever. That's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive high revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. All right, back to the Locked On Astros postcast. Thank you for joining us again tonight, whether it's here on YouTube or afterwards on the podcast page as well. And I've just taken a quick glance. If you want to hit the chat on here, you can always do that. I try to get here. No, Marcus, the show is not on LimeWire. I don't think, is LimeWire still a thing? I think it's on Napster, actually, if we're looking for one of those. A lot of you, hey, you know what? Matt, you're right. I got to give Rafael Montero a shout out tonight. Rafael Montero, scoreless outing. He was great. He's pretty awesome when he's not, giving up home runs left and right. So you can join the comments there, of course, on the YouTube page. And I'll try to remember to check in on them at some point. But Yordan Alvarez tonight gets the biggest swing of them all. Yordan Alvarez, 3-run home run. Dane Dunning tries to throw a cutter inside. And look, so far this season, all of his offensive production had come for the Astros in one game. And that you can't live that way. I think that the question with Yordan Alvarez and this team right now is, do you continue to use Yordan Alvarez in the 2-hole? I know that there's a portion of people out there that don't love it. I think it's too early to be completely out on it and want a lineup change. I think you have to give things a month in baseball. You have to give guys 100 to 125 at-bats in a season to see exactly where they're at. Again, if it was my pick, I probably wouldn't have him hitting 2. I understand the logic behind it. You can point to Shohei Ohtani. You can point to Aaron Judge. You can point to Mike Trout. All those guys hit in the 2-hole for their team. Those teams want those guys to get the most at-bats possible. It's math. It's what baseball's run by. Joe Espada is more of an analytics-driven manager than Dusty Baker ever was. And I do appreciate that. I'm willing to give it, like I said, that month, 100 to 125 at-bats for all these guys, see how it looks. I do appreciate the fact that he is not scared, that being Joe Espada, to throw those two back-to-back in the lineup. I think that matters because they're your two best hitters probably outside of Jose Altuve consistently, and they're your thumpers of this team. and you should never be scared to go back-to-back, especially given that those two guys, you go look at their numbers, are so much are almost better at times against left-handed pitching than they are right-handed pitching, which is wild, and they're elite against right-handed pitching. Go ahead and sign Kyle Tucker. I'm going to keep saying that all season long, please. I'm actually wearing my Yordan Alvarez tipping on 4-4 shirt today. It just worked out. It was meant to be for Yordan Alvarez. But I am, again, I'm willing to wait and see what the two-hole continues to look like for him. I feel like, given that the Astros have guys in Altuve and Bregman and Kyle Tucker, and, those guys are high on base guys, I would not mind Yordan sliding back a little bit because I think it just creates more opportunity for him. Now, there is the benefit of being in the two-hole and having a ton of protection. Right now, having Kyle Tucker behind you, then Alex Bregman behind you, he's going to see pitches. He's always going to hit mistake pitches. I mean, the first home run he hit, or the home run he hit the other night, one of them at Minute Maid Park, I think it was the second one against the Blue Jays, was a pitch that you go back and it's like he goes down and golfs the thing out, which is just absolutely incredible. But I think that he's probably trying to find his own comfort zone in it, which I completely understand. This is a guy that's hit 3 or 4 basically his entire big league career. I think they hit him 5th when he first came up, and then they quickly realized, we're going to have to hit this guy higher in the lineup. He might be a rookie, but he hits nothing like a rookie. I'll never forget that first home run that guy hit. It was just like, okay, move him up in the lineup, please. And since then, he's become the best hitter in baseball. It was, now, first off, the ESPN broadcast tonight, good Lord, is that thing terrible. It is so brutal to listen to. And that's not even an ESPN bias. It's just, I just think it's a bad broadcast, period. It was kind of interesting to hear Max Scherzer, basically tell you how much it sucks to face Yordan Alvarez. I would not want to face it consistently. I did find one note interesting about Yordan saying they're telling them that he went back to his bat from last year. I don't know how much they change bat. I mean, I know that these guys have a ton of bats, first off. Have you ever been in a big league clubhouse? I mean, like, each guy's got stacks of these things at their locker. There's a holder outside the clubhouse that leads down to the tunnel to go to the dugout that's got a ton of bats in it as well. But he's going back to maybe something that makes him feel more comfortable. Maybe he's trying something different, whatever it might be. Just keep going, because the Astros go, to me, as far as Yordan and Jose Altuve are going to take them. Those two guys have to consistently be great at the plate for the Astros to be the best version of themselves. Because what we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes, the Astros offense this season, that's been a problem. Now, again, you could go pull up raw numbers from early in this season, and things don't look that bad overall. They've been towards the top in the league. This was entering play today. Just in terms of American League ranks, second in batting average, first in home runs, second in on base, second in slugging, second in OPS, and they're 3-7. And tonight they got one swing from a guy, and that's how they've won the ball game. When you just go look at what they've done this season, I mean, all of their production basically has been from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys offensively. That's it. They're not getting much of anything from anywhere else. And that includes Jose Abreu, who looked feeble and won at bat again tonight. I think we're inching closer and closer by the day that the Jose Abreu discussion of, are you just going to dump him and leave him behind, is coming closer to becoming a reality for him. And it's unfortunate. I just do think that is the case for him. But Yordan Alvarez is not going to ever be one of those guys. Hopefully he's going to be like Jose Altuve, an Astro for life. We can watch him hit missiles all over the place. The Astros need more missiles out of him tomorrow night up there in Arlington for the final game of this 4-game series, because they absolutely must get out of there with a split of this 4-game series. We'll get to I'm going to nitpick here. Just fair warning, I will nitpick a little bit on a night that they lose, because there are still, or a night that they win, excuse me. There are still issues for this ball club that reared their head once again tonight. I think you know most of them. We'll get to most of them as we continue the Locked On Astros Postcast in just a moment. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights on in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs as well as the Fire Stick, which I love, that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as a free and live TV, whether it's opening weekend for baseball, which just happened, the college basketball tournament, which has one more game going, or you're going to want that Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep you up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. Whether it is, again, that final game of March Madness coming up tomorrow, the NBA, which is winding down the season, MLB, and a lot more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. I know we all love to cook. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this one. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Final few moments of our Locked On Astros postcast. Thank you again for joining tonight. Subscribe to the YouTube page. I don't know what number we're at. I appreciate all of you in my new world of post-game talking. You guys know that I've appreciated you throughout the years being there with me on the radio, now in our new version here. So hit the subscribe button on YouTube. I think we're creeping towards the 100 subscriber mark. I would greatly appreciate it if you're there and you hit that button tonight. And if you're listening on podcast, which you can find on the Locked On Astros podcast page, head over to Locked On Houston Sports, to find it on YouTube. And you can watch the show live again, or you can also subscribe and watch the old videos as well, which, again, earlier today, I did my one and only for this season. We're going to have conflicts for the rest of the season, of course. The Astros and Rockets playing at the same time. But if you are looking for a little Rockets discussion, I did one after their brutal loss to the Mavericks earlier today. But good news, the Astros survived, or the Astros saved us this evening and gave us one victory against the city of Dallas today. So, and I mean, really, it's city of Arlington and the city of Dallas. The Mavericks playing downtown, but the Rangers are over there in Timbuktu in Arlington, where, they play in a barn. So congratulations to the Rangers on that. And this is taking my unbiased Astros opinion off of it. I think it's one of the worst fan experiences I've ever experienced, because I think they built that ballpark poorly. If you've ever been there, if you're sitting in any section that's up, I feel like you're craning your neck down. And then if you're sitting anywhere else, I feel like or really anywhere, I feel like you're a million miles away from the field. So I didn't think it was done properly. But I will give them this. It has air conditioning, and I appreciate air conditioning. So congrats to them on their barn ballpark. The Astros still with a win tonight at 3-7, even though they get a 3-1 victory over the Rangers in this one. There are still issues for this ball club, and they cannot be completely ignored at all. Like we've mentioned, the bullpen has been too wobbly. I tweeted it out as it happened. Well, congrats to Josh Hader. He does get his first save tonight, which, look, you have a 3-run lead to protect. All you have to do is protect a 3-run lead. That's exactly what he did tonight. So congratulations to Josh Hader for pulling that off. But, again, it's another shaky night for Josh Hader. He was not excellent at all. To give up a run, to let some guys on base, you don't love to see that. I would like to see more out of him in terms of being a $95 million closer. Ryan Presley's been bad this season. He has a good outing. See him throw his hands up in the air. That has to feel good. Good for him that he's able to right the ship there a little bit tonight in this outing. Offensively is where I'm talking about. And again, I mentioned the raw numbers a few moments ago, but there's not enough traffic at times. And look, Dane Dunning has been a good pitcher. Turned into a really solid major league pitcher. Dominated the Astros at times. He doesn't have overpowering stuff by any means. He walked some guys tonight. They didn't get a lot of traffic. I mean, look, credit to the Rangers bullpen tonight. Astros didn't have any hits after Dunning left the game, but that's also a problem. Alvarez had the one big swing, and that's really about it for the Astros tonight. They only had 4 hits in the baseball game. I'm talking about it. I mean, I'm not so worried about Tucker so far because he's actually hit the baseball well. I've brought him up too, and he's typically been a very slow starter in his big league career to seasons. But at what point do we actually acknowledge the fact that Alex Bregman has regressed? He's not a bad player. He is a very good major league third baseman, a well above average third baseman, plays an elite level of defense at third base. But over the last 2 years, he's a 260-something hitter. And he still gets on base at an incredible clip, still has that great eye, but he doesn't hit for a lot of power anymore. He doesn't hit the baseball hard all the time. He doesn't get a lot of hits anymore. And he hasn't been really clutch in a long period of time. I don't like being that way for a guy who's an Astros legend, who has 2 World Series titles, but I'm staring at a box score again tonight. He was 0 for 4, and tell me anything about his at-bats that you liked. There wasn't anything. And this guy's hitting in the 4 hole every night. And he's making $30 million this year. And he wants a big, huge contract after this year. Step it up. It's 10 games, like everybody else. I'm going to give you your 100 to 125 at-bats. But for all the talk that happened in the offseason, he left and he moved to Arizona, and he was working with those guys out there, and he's got a weighted bat. He's got all these things that are supposed to make him better. Wants to hit the ball harder, have higher exit velocities. I haven't seen it. Nothing he's hitting to me looks all that hard. I need to pull up the, baseball savant numbers, but I feel pretty confident that going in there and looking at him, nothing is going to be great by any means. But it's not just on him. And again, I don't want to just sit here and dog on him. Yainer Diaz has gone ice cold at the plate after his blazing hot start. 3 strikeouts tonight, chased way too much. Now, he has done, I think, a better job of cutting down on some of the chasing as the season moved along last year and then early in this season. He does have a decent eye, but he just gets trigger happy. And he's young, and it's going to happen. His bat-to-ball skills are just about as elite as you can get. He can put the bat on about anything typically, but he gets a little bit outside of himself. He did that tonight. He chased some sliders out of the zone that were just terrible. I don't know. Now, at least he didn't strike out a bunch. I don't know what you're expecting out of the John Singleton experience. I never completely understood why he even had no competition to, for that spot that he got on this roster, which is the backup first baseman. It was interesting to me from the jump. First base, I've mentioned it before, and I think I'm going to keep mentioning it. It's going to be a big, massive problem for this team this year that we're going to look at and say, unless they get somebody coming up from the minor leagues, they have to address it. They cannot continue to get absolutely nothing out of this lineup every single night. It's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. And it cannot continue for the Astros moving forward. Chas McCormick has also gone ice cold of late, too. They're going to need something out of him. Jake Myers at the bottom of the lineup. I'm not expecting a lot out of him in the first place. Jeremy Pena's had a nice start to the season. He did strike out a couple of times tonight, but I want to give credit to Jeremy Pena for what he's done. I think he's found a way to start staying calmer in the box. The mechanics that he had last season were just atrocious at the plate. There was too much movement, and he never hit anything off the ground. And so far this year, he's hit the ball over the fence a couple of times. But that's the biggest issue to me that remains, is getting some consistency out of the offense so they can win some ball games. Because, again, even with some of the guys in the bullpen struggling to this point of the season, they are getting performances out of their pitching staff that are good enough for them to win baseball games. And they just have not had that to this point of the season. Hopefully tomorrow night we'll be talking about another win for this Astros team. Thank you again for joining us tonight here for the Locked On Astros podcast. Framber Valdez versus Andrew Heaney tomorrow night, 7:05. So we'll be probably after 10 o'clock tomorrow night. So make sure, of course, you join me for that. If you're looking to listen to any of this show that you missed, head over to the Locked On Astros podcast page where it will be posted shortly. Find it anywhere that you get podcasts. Listen to that podcast as well. Those guys will be back tomorrow with their podcast. Listen to it all week long, during the morning, during the day, at night. Catch us here, and catch up whenever you do. And, of course, hit subscribe on the YouTube page. Locked On Houston Sports is where you find us on YouTube. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night after another Astros win. Let's hope on the Locked On Astros Postcast.